live.
It says we are live.
But it shouldn't be able to do that from a different computer, right?
Well, it's... and now I can end the stream. So now I have the power?
I
don't know if I want that responsibility.
I mean, technically,
no, it's going. Look at that. It says,
yeah, okay.
Until my
So
died,
this is
which
the
could.
static
Fine.
shot. So this is what people are supposed to be looking at until we get 5 people. Schwood, 5 people is the magic number.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's usually when I start the show. So basically now all that has changed thus far to the viewer is they are simply seeing the static image instead of me fumbling around and drinking my coffee.
And we're breaking the fourth wall by talking about it.
That's fine. This is one of those shows. The title alone breaks the fourth wall. So we're flying blind.
We just went down to 1.
Oh my god, that's the thing. Friday nights are always a slow start.
A slow burn. Yeah. Well, when we get to 10 views, then you can turn on my camera. How's that?
Yeah. Well, that's how we'll do it. Every view. Till 10,
right.
Nothing happens. 10 happens, Schwood turns on his camera. Every 20 after
viewer
that
is a new pixel.
Yeah. And then every 20 after that, you remove an article of clothing.
Right. Oh boy. Strip streaming.
You know,
there might be some money in that.
Yeah, probably. That's cam whores. Hey, Kayla moderator.
Hi, Kayla.
So here's the thing I saw earlier today, and I thought,
all right,
how the fuck? So somebody I follow on Instagram was like, I'm gonna go live. So I go, okay. So I'm watching the feed, and instead of like having somebody curate calls or check stuff, he just took this live call, and it was a dude's ball sack like flapping all over the place.
Wow.
And I'm
I guess Instagram allows that.
Yeah, like this is live video. They couldn't stop it in time apparently, but
yeah. Well, you heard about like when COVID first hit and everyone started doing Zoom, but no one really knew how to use Zoom.
They still don't.
Yeah.
And so like there was a lot of people doing like, aerobics classes or jazzercise, going back to the 80s.
Kayla does Zumba by Zoom.
Or Zumba, right? Over Zoom. And then what would happen is they'd have like, 10 people doing Zumba and 3 fat old guys wanking it in a different window. Different windows.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we are at 5 people and 2 likes.
Can everybody hear us okay? We had some sound issues earlier and constantly, and no one wants to bring it up. So please, Kayla, moderator Kayla, this is your job. Hear me now and hear me well. Do you hear me well?
Ooh.
I want confirmation before you see my goddamn face on this camera. You get
He's
to look.
Turn on the camera. It's gonna be his balls.
You get to look at the logo. Yeah, and then bam, career over.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that. It took a second. Yep, Zoom 3 times a week. I couldn't believe that. Just a dude's sack slapping his butt.
Yep, that's awesome.
And I don't know.
The funny thing about it to me is that there are people that's their mentality.
Right.
Is like, I'm going to put a camera on my ball sack for kicks.
Also, with everybody being traceable nowadays, I guarantee that guy, that's his main Instagram account. He did not pre-think and like, I'm gonna start the ball sack account and start ball sacking people. That didn't happen.
Why can't we set it up, or Facebook or Instagram set it up so that
ball filter?
If it detects that you have done a dick pic, it automatically sets it as your profile picture.
That would be awesome. But what if? Well, I guess that would be okay, because what if it accidentally recognized something as a dick? Then it might be a slam against somebody. Yee. So do we still have 5 people, Krista?
We have 5 people and 3 likes.
All right. So
I'm gonna do it like.
I hear you well as far as YouTube standards go.
All right.
There we go. I liked it as well.
So good. So Krista's gonna hit that unknown guest. Shh. Krista's gonna hit that unknown. It's in the title, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, Schwood.
I'm still pretty unknown.
Chris is gonna hit it, and we're gonna roll. So here we go.
You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Welcome to the show. My name's Dave, and this is Until My Battery Dies, the show where we go until I have had enough of the guest has had enough of me, or the battery in my camera dies, in which case the goodbyes are abrupt. Guys, you know what's happening. You've read the title. You saw the Facebook post. Let me just bring him in here. Oh, I was going to do a whole bunch of shit. I forgot to write it down. So he's the tyrant of tech, the emperor of... Oh, shit. I should have wrote it down.
Come on, think of it. This is live, buddy.
I know, and that's the thing. Always live, I always go, duh. We never go right. So, guys, he's a wizard in the networking arena. You may have seen some of his shows, or
not.
Maybe not the tech stuff, but I still remember the old days of the movie review show. So please, everybody,
Yes.
help me in welcoming Chris Sherwood, aka Schwood, to the show. Ta-da!
Thank you. Did you switch the camera on?
You're there,
Oh,
buddy.
good. Hey, everybody. Hi. Not only the movie review podcast, which very few people know about, but also I had a gardening channel for a while where I was doing outdoor stuff and gardening, chainsawing trees down and planting vegetables.
I feel like I have a vague memory of this.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about that channel is when my current channel started getting pretty popular, I was like, I'm going to play a joke on these guys. I'll be like, I'll tell you what, I will give someone a prize if they can figure out what my old channel was. And I still had some, videos up on YouTube. And no doubt within like 4 minutes, someone had found it. And they were like, there was literally no connection between my current channel and the old channel. And someone was like, no, well, I just Googled this, and it came up with an email address, and then I Googled that email address, and boom, I found it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the internet's amazing, and people on YouTube will absolutely nitpick everything. Like, you cannot, I had someone ask in a comment on YouTube why my face was so blotchy on one of the videos.
Hey, that's a valid question that I was going to bring up later, but since you did, let's go over it.
Yeah, let's just talk about
Schwood,
it.
what's up with that face?
But like, it's just so funny, like the things that people see. And so I started hiding things in my videos. And my latest thing is at the very end of my videos. If you wait till the very, very end, there's just a little text that comes on the screen. And I've been doing like Amazon $25 gift certificate ciphers. Where like if you take the gift certificate and then you shift all of the letters, like 5 spaces or whatever to the next, whatever the alphabet letter, it's 5 spaces forward or backwards, you can come up with an Amazon gift code to get you $25. And so far, no one has cracked that one, so it's interesting.
Listen, you're like the Moriarty of YouTube. I don't know if
I don't know about that.
Well, at least of the sphere that I have partaken.
Yeah. Speaking of Moriarty, did you see the new Sherlock Holmes movie that just came out on Netflix?
Negative.
It's called Elona Holmes. It's about Sherlock Holmes' little sister, played by Seven from Stranger Things.
What?
And you know who Sherlock Holmes is?
Yeah.
The Witcher himself.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Cavill?
Yes, Henry Cavill plays
The
Sherlock
Witcher.
Holmes.
That was a weird pull. He's best known for probably Superman, but you're like The Witcher himself.
I'd say nowadays he's best known for Witcher.
I don't know.
Listen, the millennials know him as Witcher, and the millennials are who I cater to as an audience.
Hey, well, you came to the right place because our show is 100% audience female, ages 34 to 44.
Oh,
so you came to the
did
right
not know
place.
that.
With your
All
well,
right.
according to YouTube, when I look up YouTube analytics regarding this channel, I say, who's our audience? Who should I cater to? And they say, well, women number one, because that's 100%. And I scroll down even further, and it says, even better, we'll give you that. Not only is it women, age 34 to 44. You're nailing that demo, buddy. So keep it up. Good. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Are you wearing a Fistful of Podcast neckerchief?
It's a gator cloth.
Oh, is that like? But it goes like up over your mouth. But is it Fistful of Podcast?
It totally is.
Let me see it.
Ta-da!
I mean, there'll be a delay. I can't see it yet, but
it's pretty.
I'll see it in about 15 seconds.
Available in our store.
Are you gonna even bring up the fact that it's not just your face on screen?
What do you mean?
I mean, there's a second person on your stream.
Besides you?
You haven't.
No, you've never done. You've always just had you on the.
Oh
on
yeah,
video.
God. So, are they talking about it in chat? I don't know.
No.
I'm not watching chat. So yeah, I guess. So here's.
The chats are flying by so fast it's hard to read.
Well, here's. I believe you. Here's the thing. There are so many new things and we just blew into the episode immediately. Like I introduced you and it started. So here's the thing. Back it all up. This is number 2 episode of Until My Battery Dies. Number 1, it is the first episode of October, hence the Halloween decor. Number 3, it is fucking hashtag Flamingo Friday, everybody. We're wearing flamingos here in studio. I took my socks off.
Did not get that memo.
Listen, I'll accept that if you can tell me what my own email address is.
Oh.
Swish.
info@fistfulofpodcast.com.
No, it's .net.
.net. So close. So close.
Holy shit. So what? Okay, so yeah, Schwood obviously with his tech wizardry helped me stumble through the magic that you are seeing now. When I look up into this little window here where he is, that's because of him. And also this logo.
And what do I have to do? This? And now I'm looking at you?
No, now you're looking at the clock at like 45 degrees to your right.
Okay, like this?
Yes, there we go. Now, if I look up like this, people are probably laughing.
If you get in real close, can we like kiss?
So, like, logistically, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
The FFOP logo on the bottom corner, I don't feel like should cover Popeye's face.
Oh, here's the thing. I totally forgot about that. So what I can do is just like
move it to the other corner.
Well, hold on. Watch this. Deedly.
Okay, so in 30 seconds, I'll see it.
Yeah. So in 30 seconds, you'll hear that deedly.
Diddly-diddly-diddly.
So Schwood also.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything else? I did the Flamingo Friday. We talked about the new video setup. I think that's it. So. That being said.
Well, let me ask this question.
Sure.
Why is your camera on a battery?
Here's the thing,
Schwood. This camera I love. However,
It's nice. Would you say Lumix G7? It's a good camera.
beautiful camera. Love it. It does great stills. However, the battery adapter that I got that you can plug into the wall imparts such a hideous amount of static that I would rather be limited to a battery than to hear a constant brown noise.
Really? You know what you should do is probably try a different one, because I bet it might just be that one.
There are, since this camera is becoming scarce, like that was the one with the most reviews, and I don't need another thing that I'm not going to use. And I that's the thing. They're all going to be garbage and cheap. I need something with a very thickly insulated and heavily grounded cable, because this table is a mess of goddamn spaghetti and cords.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but enough about me.
I do a contest on Crosstalk Solutions every year called the Worst Server Room. And it's actually a lot of fun every year because people send in their pictures of like that kind of spaghetti mess, but like for an actual business network environment.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. This year's winner was great. He like narrated the whole, walked around a client site that just had cables strung like literally through the air. There was like a network switch that was only suspended by a cable that was actually plugged into it.
What?
And stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty good. He won hands down.
Oh,
It was a fun contest.
Yeah, that's the thing though. If you're doing it by the seat of your pants, you eventually get to it. But if it works and you don't give a shit and it's behind a door, it can stay a mess forever.
Yeah, I think it's Linus Sebastian. Do you know who that is? Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah.
He's probably like one of the biggest tech YouTubers out there.
Yeah.
He's got a saying that says, "There's nothing more permanent than a temporary solution that works."
Mm-hmm. That is 100%. That's why you see so much duct tape on cars.
That's right.
So Schwood, this is your first time on the show, and I have got 5 questions that I ask every guest. I call it the FFOP 5.
What is your least favorite word?
Yeah, that would be funny if I just essentially ripped off James Lipton. That would have been a much funnier joke. But what this is actually is 5 handcrafted, psychologically probing questions that I'm going to ask you, and that will dictate how I treat you for the rest of our lives, as friends and acquaintances, possibly.
My mother spanked me.
Great info, however,
Oh, you
not
didn't
on the
ask the.
test.
I'm sorry. I thought that was the first question. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
before we do that, though, I want to say this, and
Yes.
I want the chat typing square to chime in. When you look at Schwood here, and you look at, say, Dr. House from like season 4 or 5 of House, tell me if you see a resemblance. Side by side. I think that Schwood here looks like House when he goes to rehab, only because of the short hair, because he had to shave his head.
Yeah. I had to COVID shave my hair.
Yeah, I've been doing
But here's
that.
the thing: is I have not watched even 1 second of the show House. So
Yeah, but you came at me with very much confidence with a no.
no, yeah, because I don't think I look like who's the actor that plays House?
Hugh Laurie.
Laurie.
Yeah, I don't look like Hugh Laurie. is the thing. I
Totally.
don't look, not even
Typing
close.
square, chime in. This guy looks like Hugh Laurie.
Even though I'm very British. Other than that,
Yeah, I was
no
gonna
doubt.
say Sherwood sounds like a British name.
I think it's Scottish and Welsh.
Well, I mean, but British is Scottish and Welsh. Britain
Yeah,
is
I
all
guess
of
so.
that.
It's a whole incestual thing going on over there.
Ancestral?
What did I say?
Question 1.
Okay.
So, question 1. What is something that you are into that most people aren't? And you can't give me the big ones, like no networking. Like if you were
Sure.
to corner someone at a party and chat their ass off about something that you love, but maybe they don't, what is it?
I really like, and this is actually, I mean, okay, so I have always been into like aquariums. I like aquariums and fish and all
I get
that.
yeah.
But only recently have I gotten more into aquascaping,
Okay, I get that.
which is like using live plants, you know, in to basically grow an
That-
environment inside the aquarium.
That's an intense community, my friend.
It is, and there's a lot of really great YouTubers that are like aquascaping and terrarium YouTubers that I like to watch. But that's probably about as obscure as it goes as far as like my personal hobbies that aren't tech related.
Well, let's not downplay that. Aquascaping isn't exactly mainstream, so I don't know if I
No.
would be like, well, I don't know if that's yeah, that's
Weren't you
pretty
into
niche.
hydroponics for a while?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Listen, I chew up and spit out hobbies like gum. Here's how I run through a hobby. I blast through it as fast as possible, get to the peak of whatever I think that is. And
Right.
if I can sustain that with interest and or it produces something fruitfully, I'll keep it. Otherwise, I drop it like a pile of shit.
Here's a question for you. How's this?
Sure.
What is a hobby that you would be interested in that you just don't have the money for? Like if you had unlimited funds, what would be your hobby?
Like if oh boy, I don't know, because if like is literally anything on the table, because
Sure.
it would be this show. Like if I had $1 million to throw at something, I would literally buy every house in my neighborhood, tear them all down because I hate them, and build a giant recording studio. For me, like I would obviously have the beautiful ensuite with a bathroom and a kitchen or whatever, but then I'd also have like tiny little studios for jackasses like me, who I am now, who can
Right.
come in and blast out a few episodes or whatever, because there's got to be a better way to get into something without having to sound like shit for your first however many episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and honestly though, this day and age, it's not that bad.
Sure.
You can actually get into it relatively low budget.
Right.
You know, you don't need to have a Lumix G7 and a
Not
nice
necessarily,
microphone.
no. People
Yeah.
do it from their phones, and one of the guys who I love just does it from his phone with the earbuds that he got for free. So whatever, that's fine. But
Yeah.
for people like me who want a professional experience, I would blow out that aspect of myself.
I see.
And don't you think that I haven't thought about it, because I got a wish list on Amazon that I could show you.
Yeah.
Aquascaping, like it.
That's cool.
Aquascaping's fun. I mean, it's
And it's relaxing.
It's kind of zen. Yeah, exactly.
it not only like that sort of stuff is always super cool because aquascaping, if you want to get into it, you can drop in like those little tiny neon colored shrimp that come in a million varieties.
Yeah.
Have an invertebrate tank with like mollusks and stuff.
Right. You know what's funny is I went to there's a pretty big aquarium store in the town where I live, and I went there last weekend, and I bought because I had a little bit of an algae growth, and I want to try to get the algae under control. Right. So I bought this snail that's supposed to go around and eat algae. Pretty good sized snail, about the size of a nickel
Like
around.
a mystery snail.
It's exactly a mystery snail.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't get me wrong,
and then
I've been in aquatics too.
and then I also bought 3 Amano shrimp.
Okay. I love.
So I put the snail and the shrimp into the aquarium. I let the shrimp like sit there and acclimate to the water temperature, and then I put a little bit of water in there, and then let that sit for 20 minutes, put a little bit of more water. Anyways, I did the right way, got them into the aquarium, and I put the shrimp in, and they disappeared. I haven't the slightest idea where they went. All 3 of them are gone.
I have right now. I have anywhere between 2 and 5 in my aquarium. I can confirm one at a time.
Well, I have this fake rock that I have in there. It's the only plastic bit. It looks like a real rock, but it's fake. And in the back of that rock are a couple of holes, like cutouts, that it turns it into essentially a little cave on the back side. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they went into that cave and maybe just didn't come out, but I cannot verify if they're alive or not. It's been like a week.
Trust me, they're alive. That you'll know when one of those goes. But here's what you want: a mono shrimp. That's the working man. That's your salt of the earth shrimp. What you want, if you want visual stimulation, is a bamboo shrimp.
That sounds interesting.
Because whereas the Amano shrimp are bottom feeders, so they're constantly running around picking and they only come out at night, the bamboo shrimp are filter feeders, so by their very nature, they need to expose themselves near moving water, so they'll hang out near bubblers or by your filter, and they're awesome looking.
Oh, that's cool.
They have these beautiful little fans that they just grab shit, and it's just like, watch it for hours. I'm Yoda.
Yeah. Watch it for hours. I could. Did you see the trailer for the new season of Mandalorian?
I don't like Star Wars. I'm not going to watch any Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. You don't like Star Wars.
But before you dog me for that, has the typing square weighed in on the house situation?
Yeah, Kayla
I'm
says...
not going to... Oh, go ahead.
Kayla says he looks more like the villain from Tomorrowland.
I don't know what Tomorrowland is.
Nor I. So... Now all of us are confused, Kayla.
I'm going to look it up, though. Don't think I'm not going to look it up.
So anyway, Schwood, here we go.
Yeah.
Question number 2. This is a good one. Give me a band that you can listen to exclusively for the rest of your life.
You know who the villain in Tomorrowland is?
You? No.
Hugh Laurie.
Oh my God!
So
wait,
I don't know if that was. I don't know if that was.
Kayla, is this a joke? Kayla, get in my office.
That's pretty funny.
You're gonna get written up.
These mods and their shenanigans.
I guess so.
Unbelievable.
Oh, Tim McGraw's in it too. Must be.
It looks like
quality movie.
Prince. What's his fuck? Oh God damn it! Whatever.
Albert.
Yeah, it looks like Prince Albert in a can. So anyway, Schwood, here we are. Give me a band you can listen to for the rest of your life, exclusively. Everything else must go. Crazy Eddie's Discount Music.
All right. I'm getting there.
Right.
This is going to be an obscure one.
Okay, that's fine.
The band's name is the String Cheese Incident.
Okay, that's not too obscure. I know about them.
Oh, well then it's not too obscure then.
Yeah, if I know about it, trust me, it's not obscure.
Yeah. Well, they're a band that I just can pretty much always enjoy. It's actually between them and the Animal Liberation Orchestra. That's the second one. But
really quick, refresh my memory. The String Cheese Incident is what is their gimmick?
They're just a really good band. They're very diverse in their musical capabilities.
I feel like they hit my radar some time ago for something.
They're a hippie jam band.
That's it.
I like hippie jam bands.
Yeah, the String Cheese Incident kind of reminds me of a Fish or a Grateful Dead.
They're in that vein. They're in that vein. Yes.
Okay, now it's all coming back to me. I get it. I forgot how big of a hippie jam band bullshit artist you are.
Yeah. Well, why am I a bullshit? I'm the real deal, man. I'm not a bullshit artist.
No, I'm saying all the artists you like are bullshit. That was phrased poorly.
Oh, well, that's not true. everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
But
Everyone has their own musical taste,
Sure.
and as long as we all agree that country music sucks, then you're allowed to listen to whatever you want to.
I'm going to tell you what a scientist told me. A scientist should.
Okay.
Everybody is entitled to their opinion. However, those opinions are not necessarily right.
Ha.
So,
Well, when it comes to science, perhaps.
right. But call Twitter on the phone and ask most of everybody on there and be like, hey, what do you think of fish? They're going to be like, not good.
No, that's true. That's true. I'm not. Well, I noticed I didn't pick fish.
Right.
Fish is good. Listen, I've seen.
Fish is-
How many times do you think I've seen the band Fish live in concert?
If it's more than one, I'm going to be sad.
4.
Okay, that's a good guess.
I'll say a dozen.
If we're playing Price is Right, you guys are both still in the game.
Really? Okay, so more than... So I was right with more than none.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know. It's like...
Probably 30 or 40 times I've seen the band Fish.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I know. I saw the Grateful Dead 6 times before Jerry passed.
We're way off topic now, but let me ask you what it's like to go to a Fish concert. Are you just constantly around dudes tripping balls, and you just sort of have to like... What's the deal?
Well, let me clarify one thing. I enjoy the concert experience, and I like the music, and I like the fact that they're not just playing the same 4-minute song. And every time you hear a particular song, it's going to be different than the last time you heard that song. That's kind of the allure of that whole genre of music. The crowd are a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that Fish...
Yeah, and that I mean, that's like, it's bad.
The
It's
fandom
bad. David, I think of you accompanying me to a Fish concert, and I can imagine the looks on your face from all the way outside in the parking lot all the way into the arena. It would be something to see.
I sometimes I would like to put myself in those experiences just to see what it's going to be like, but then I think better of it and I think a Fish concert.
Yeah. Well, but who do you listen to? Like you listen to like Tool?
Yeah, dude. Tool. No. It depends on when you catch me, but typically in my rotation is the Electric Six, Far Side, like your favorite Trainwreck. Dave Matthews is heavily referenced.
Matthews is a jam band.
I know, but he's like, he's the White Claw of jam bands.
I saw Dave Matthews Band open for the Grateful Dead in 1995.
Oh, I'm sure that because that seems about the time that he would definitely be opening for the Grateful Dead. but Dave Matthews rides the line for me. There are a lot.
Yeah, he does. He definitely rides the line. Yeah.
There are songs where I'm like, hey, yeah, okay.
He's much more of the mainstream jam band artist.
Yeah, I get that he wants to, whatever. Like that's their roots. I get it, but they keep it in check most of the time, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I like hearing the same song the same way more than once.
Oh, okay.
That's just me, though. That's
And
me
listen,
music.
everyone is entitled to their opinions.
Luckily, mine's still right. Number 3, Schwood.
Yes, go ahead.
You got to lose a limb. You got 4 of them. You got to lose one. You got to lose it right now. Which one are you losing?
Wait, what am I saying? Oh, losing a limb?
Limb. You got
Like an entire limb.
Yeah, where it meets your torso. You got to lop it off.
Oh, that is a tough question. Because
Not
if I
really.
lose a leg, like if I lose the leg, am I losing it at like hip bone?
Yes, you're losing it like where I'm saying where it meets your torso. Essentially like a GI Joe. If you can pull one of those limbs off, you're left with that socket. Think of it that way.
Not like below the knee, like Petraeus, where I'd still have the ability to murder people.
No, you're not. You're not a pirate. This is
Okay.
like
So full leg or full arm.
full leg, full arm.
Well, I
There
gotta
is
think
one
about
right
this in terms of what's best for work, right? And so I think I got to keep both my hands.
Okay, all right.
So I got to go. I mean, I guess I got to go left leg.
There it is. See, that's all I ask of people is to fucking think about their answers critically and land on the left leg, which is always going to be the right answer. All
Right?
these
Is that
people,
correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course it is.
Oh,
Because people on this show, Schwood, they give up one of their arms, and I say, "What the fuck are you? I want to move around. You can get a steel leg."
Yeah. or like they're
Goodbye,
like we're
typing.
gonna have like really good wheelchair technology and that sort of stuff. Plus, if you're in a wheelchair, you can go around and potentially spot opportunities to complain about no wheelchair access at places.
Yeah, if you want to be like a paralyzed Karen.
Well, is that a Perrin?
Yeah, Paralarin.
Paralarin?
Paralarin. But that's the thing. People, I think, forget and take for granted how much they use their arms for. Like typing on a keyboard, driving a car, literally anything you've ever fucking done, you've used two hands. I can almost guarantee it.
I think it would be a much more difficult life to lose an arm than lose a leg.
Yes.
I mean,
get
coming from literally no experience with either.
Right. But using critical thinking, we can arrive at the same point that losing a leg would be a lot less of an inconvenience than losing an arm.
Yeah.
Just be real, people. That's all I ask of you. All right.
Question number 4.
Question 4. Let's say that you are going to get your consciousness transposed into the body of an animal. Any species you want, as long as it was alive, no mythical creatures, but I'll take extinct ones. You get to go in there for 3 days. What are you choosing?
Inside a creature for 3 days. Well, I think I would think that most people would say something like an eagle.
We have gotten that answer.
Right? Just because it seems like a bird that's not going to be a prey.
Plus,
right?
it's badass. It's America.
Plus, you get to fly around and experience what that's like for a few days. You do have to have a diet of like small rodents, which is probably a downside.
Right. But let's say you're a bald eagle. You've also got fish and or other birds on the menu. You could be a chicken hawk.
That's true. I'm allergic to fish though, so that's gonna be tough.
Different body. You're not bringing your allergies. You're just bringing your consciousness.
Oh no. Well, if I was an eagle and I brought my allergies, could I also bring some Benadryl? Because that would be
like a little eagle. Like that would be hilarious. You have like a little anklet of Benadryl.
Yeah, right. It's like a little Pez dispenser of Benadryl.
That's my Leonardo Pez dispenser of Claritin. Yeah.
So I guess I'll go eagle. I mean, I don't want to. Here, let's think about it this way. Land animals are boring.
True. Well, to an extent.
Even like big land animals are kind of boring, unless you're like maybe like a cheetah or a lion or something. But like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a prey animal. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to be like a meerkat.
Yeah. There's a lot to think about in this question, simply because people take for granted everything that we have as humans, and even giving it up for 3 days, I think is going to be harder than most people think.
Yeah.
So comfort is king for a lot of people, and not getting murdered is another. But I can assure you that if you are summarily executed by another species or by misadventure, you are simply transported back to your own body, and you spend the rest of the weekend doing chores before you have to go to work.
All right. Maybe like a dog would be fun too. Just be a dog for a while.
Here's what I'm always a stickler for, is what I'm going to be eating, because when you're an animal, you're going to be doing almost everything exclusively with your mouth, and I would like my eating to be the least annoying part. And if I have to eat dog food out of a thing, I'd rather hunt something. I'd rather get into a body that's lean and mean and hunt, and or something that's humongous that can stomp the shit out of something that would want to eat me.
So what's your answer then?
I don't know. I haven't given it much thought. I've asked 40 people this, and I've never even thought of it myself. Because that's the thing. Everybody makes a compelling case for their animal. So it's hard, because I've heard a compelling case for a water bear, and I've heard a compelling case for a bunny rabbit. And
Is a water bear just? I don't know what a water bear is.
It's called the real name is called a tardigrade, I think. Tardigrade.
Oh, I know what a tardigrade is. Yeah, okay,
basically
Aren't
that.
those like microscopic?
Yes. So they're these indestructible 6-legged, adorable little microbes. So
do you watch that new Star Trek?
No.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
So there's an interesting. I forget what it's called. It's the new one that's out on.
It's not the comedy one, right?
It's not the no.
Not
That's
Picard.
the cartoon one. I don't mean the cartoon one.
Not Picard.
Star Trek. It's not Picard. Picard was sad, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Star Trek Discovery.
That's not new.
Yeah. No, the series Star Trek. It's not new. It's like 2 seasons in. Or
Right.
3 seasons in.
I thought you were talking about something like that just came out. So
No. So Star Trek Discovery. Have you seen that, by the way?
negative.
So they had the idea behind Star Trek Discovery is that their ship is powered by an engine that taps into this network of mycelium or like mushrooms, basically, that spreads all throughout the galaxy, and they can instantaneously jump from one part of the galaxy to another and even into other dimensions with this magical spaceship that they have.
Yes.
And for a while, they were powering it with a tardigrade. A big, giant tardigrade was the engine of the ship.
Yeah, even though I have not watched a second of this, I am familiar with the ethical dilemma that they faced in this series.
Well, I thought it was pretty good. That show's actually pretty good. I like it. As far as Star Trek goes, the new one, the cartoon one, is Lower Decks, as Kayla is saying in the chat. But Lower Decks is, I don't know. I haven't seen a second of it.
It's listen, you're never going to recapture TNG, so I'm not coming back. Sorry. But anyway, what?
Yeah.
So,
but speaking of Picard, though, did you watch Picard?
I watched a little bit of it, but it was too not TNG. Like the storylines. Listen, you're in the fucking future, right? And in TNG, they had this shit on lock. They say, hey, guess what? We have replicators. No more need for money. Now you just do it for the good of each other. And for some reason, they went back morally and technologically 3,000 years when, why is everybody fighting? There's no scarcity. What? And they're still like, everyone can live everywhere. Like, there's stuff that's like, everything is basically valueless, but in Picard there are characters upping like material possessions and shit. Like, what the I don't give a fuck. Like, I got a replicator over there. I can have that antique watch or that bottle of wine. Guess what? I can have anything, bitch.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess there is that, huh?
Schwood, what animal are you? Jesus Christ! Did we land on that?
Didn't I say eagle?
Okay, so we're locking in on eagle.
I will be. My spirit animal is Jean-Luc Picard from The Next Generation.
Technically, that counts because humans are animals, as much as we don't like to think about it. And
yeah.
Honestly, wild card. I don't think anyone else will ever pick another human.
Probably not.
All right, so last question, and this is an important one. Maybe the most important, some would say.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love Steven Seagal?
That is a tough one. Because I have very fond memories of, darn it, what's that movie where they take over the cruise ship?
The cruise ship?
Under Siege?
Under Siege was a submarine.
Submarine. No, it's not a submarine. Isn't it? Maybe it's a warship. Is it a submarine?
Yeah, it's a submarine.
A submarine.
I know Seagal. Trust me. Under Siege 1, submarine. Under Siege 2, train. So it should have been Under Siege 2, over siege.
You guys are both wrong. IMDb, an ex-Navy SEAL turned cook, is the only person who can stop a group of terrorists when they seize control of a U.S. battleship.
Oh,
I could have swore it was because we just watched that movie recently, like in the last year, and I could have swore someone diving. Like, they were like, dive in the ship, and I can't imagine a battleship doing that.
Here's the travesty is that Under Siege has a 6.5 on IMDb only. How dare they?
I like the second one better than the first one.
Seagal has had some definite... Like, if Seagal were a rock, you would be able to see the layers and the changes that have happened. Like, very drastically.
I liked Under Siege, and then there was another one that was really good. It wasn't based on, what was it?
Is it Latter Day?
His movies just go downhill over time, don't they?
Yeah. Well, there's the 3 periods. You have like.
Oh, it's Hard to Kill.
Hard to Kill.
Okay. Is the other. Oh no, Out for Justice. That's the one.
They're all the same.
Out for Justice is the one. Yeah, the one with William Forsythe as the bad guy.
Oh yeah, William Forsythe. He's good.
Yeah, so those two movies, like I have very fond memories of like watching those with my dad as a kid, and we used to like love them, right? But then you also hear stories about how Steven Seagal is just such a dick in real life, and there's just countless stories about Steven Seagal being a jerk, and so I'm gonna have to give it a 6. I'll give him a 6.
Here's the problem, Schwood.
Yes. Well, you said there's a right answer. What's the right answer?
The right answer is the compelling answer, the polarizing answer. The worst answer you can give is 4 to 6. The best answers you can give are 1 to 3 or 7 to 10, because it shows conviction.
Because there's a duality going on there. There's the fond memories, the fond childhood memories of myself and my dad, contrasted with the shitty movies and shitty person that Steven Seagal actually is. And if you combine those with a 1 and a 10, it comes around to about a 6. I'm actually erring on the high side there.
But then what? But then it's like that's not love. Love is a scale that in the middle is indifference, and a 5 and a 6 and a 4 are indifference. I said love, goddammit. Opposite of love is hate, so I'll take a 1 through 3. Love is the opposite of hate, so it's on the same spectrum. I'll take it. Love is still there, but indifference and mediocrity, a 5, a 6, a 4, all off the table. This interview's over. Literally, because that was the last question.
6.5, final answer.
Why? There are some questions that are stumbling blocks for everybody. For most people, it's the limb. For you, it was the Seagal.
Yeah. Well, for most people, it's which one? You cut out there.
The limb. For some reason.
Oh, really? The limb is a stumbling block?
Yes.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a stumbling block. That one's obvious.
I think so too. But the thing is, people, and I don't know if this is like they want to, maybe it's adventurousness, or maybe it's like, if I were, this is maybe just selfishness, but if I were going to say, yeah, I'll lose an arm, I would definitely use it literally all the time to get out of almost everything.
Right.
Like, hey, you're moving this weekend? Sorry, I lost an arm. Sorry. Oh, what? Like, the check's here for dinner? I can't get my wallet. The arm that had that side sorry. I would do that literally all the time, and that would be the only reason. So maybe that's people's secret motivation, is they're like
getting out of things.
Yeah, like just being a mooch finally. I would take both arms if I could get everything for free. I'd say fuck it. I could buy a servant eventually.
Yeah, that's the goal of everyone in life, right?
Yep.
Being able to buy a servant.
Yep. People just go into that servant shop, you look at them on the peg.
I'll take that one, please.
Yeah, the servant shop is very it could stand to maybe a few more models, because they have like the standard old Alfred Butler looking model.
Yeah.
And that's
no one wants that one.
Yeah, and then they have like the Mrs. Potts model. We want young. I want hip. I want.
Did you see who's the Snooki. Alfred in the new Batman?
Aside from Jeremy Irons?
Is it Jeremy Irons?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends. Are they making a new one? And is this a trick question? Because in Batman v Superman, it was Jeremy Irons.
Now, who's the new?
Well, no, because there is a new Batman coming out.
Yeah, so
it's Andy Serkis.
He's the new Alfred?
Yes, sir.
Whatever. I am done. I am done. I've got superhero fatigue. I got it way before everybody else, just like I did with zombies, just like I did with the 80s.
I don't know why. You don't need to get fatigue about these things, man. A good movie there's good movies and there's bad movies. It doesn't matter what genre they're in. They're good and bad.
But my willingness to suspend disbelief gets more and more threadbare as we.
What's the last movie where you felt you were really able to suspend disbelief and enjoy the movie? Not necessarily even in the theater. I just mean in general.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, the last movie I legitimately watched was The Karate Kid 3, so that's out. But the last movie I watched that I legitimately liked, I can't even tell you. There's stuff I liked ironically, like Sand Sharks was awfully good. Sharks in Venice
Lichen Colony.
Lichen Colony. Well, maybe okay. So let's broaden the horizons. I'll say that like Suburban Sasquatch is probably something that I like, simply because it's so mishandled, and the fact that
So you like train wrecks.
yes, but more than that, a train wreck can be whatever. It needs to be an earnest train wreck that somehow, despite all odds, found its way to my face. Like it got a DVD release or something. Because bad movies that are done like a Sharknado, if it's ironically bad and we're all winking to camera, you maybe get 1 or 2 good views out of that, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. But
You know what I think? Probably the best movie I've seen in a long time, and obviously we haven't been going to movies in 6 months.
right.
Did you guys see Rocket Man?
No.
Oh, Rocket Man is so good.
That's the Elton John biopic.
The Elton
right?
John, but it's not what you think. I will just put it that way.
Well, we saw the Queen one, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Terrible.
Terrible.
It was bad,
Terrible.
and I hated how they just was like the end was just like, okay, here you go.
Well, and
Here's
so
17 minutes of like
if you're
words.
going to have a documentary, document fucking something.
Well, that's the thing. Is that so the Queen movie kind of played it straight. No, no pun intended. But it was like just the story of Queen and Freddie Mercury, right?
Right. But the problem was
Rocket Man is not that.
right.
Okay, so Rocket Man is different. I highly encourage you to watch Rocket Man. It's very good.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I just haven't cut around to it. But now I want to complain about Bohemian Rhapsody because in a movie, what would happen is there would be a first act where Freddie Mercury is discovered and rises to power, and then there would be the turning point when he finds out something or when something bad happens, and then there'd be resolution in a Hollywood way because nobody's lives work out. But even though he died, they would spin it in a happy ending. What we got was minute after mind-blowing minute of boring shit, no stakes, no consequences, just what the fuck? Like, there's compelling shit happen. Like the first girl, then the dude who like shows up in the mustache and like he discovers his gayness, then all the drug abuse, then the AIDS stuff. It's all just like
blown
like the movie is a piece of tissue paper blowing over Freddie Mercury's life, not really getting involved, just watching it from. It sucked.
It was very high touch as far as like covering the deep topics and not wanting to go too down any of those dark paths, you know, like even his homosexuality was mostly like hinted at.
Right. Everything was hinted at. The actor did a great job singing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Rami Malek is great.
The performances are great.
By the way, the new Bond villain, Rami Malek.
Oh.
I'm interested in that. I think he is a good actor. But that's the thing. Like all the characters were okay, but it felt like everybody was. The only thing that people had to say was always exposition.
Yeah.
There was no time to breathe because we had to hit 20 milestones in Freddie Mercury's life, and it just felt like a rise to fame should feel like a struggle. Should feel like there was some strife. This just felt like, oh, hey, I'm Freddie Mercury. I got funny teeth. Let's change our name to Queen and get rich. And the end. It worked. Ha ha.
Well, it was the end. Oh, and here's all the other stuff that happened to him.
Yeah, like don't focus on one thing. Give me mid-story. Give me or if you're not going to do that, explore one of the dark things. Explore the drug use. Explore like the rocky relationship with the lady. Anything. Just don't be like.
It was I did not enjoy that one nearly as much, and the travesty is that like Rocket Man on IMDb is 7.3, and what would you guess they gave to Bohemian Rhapsody?
It's
9.2.
unreasonably high, but probably like 8 something.
An 8. Yeah, an 8.0.
But it's simply because of the music, because Rami Malek and 3 other dudes melded their voice together and did the work of one back in the day. Everyone's like, oh shit, we can't stop blowing each other over the amazing things we did with these musical. One guy did it with one throat, and it takes 4 and an army of engineers, and now you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh boy, this is a real love letter to Freddie Mercury. Shut the fuck up. There was no substance.
It's like, you know, it's always interesting to me, and I don't know why I just thought of this. But you know, in Florida, there's that one, like, I don't know if it's an attraction or what, but there's this guy who spent years and years and years building this crazy, like, set of, like, humongous rocks that are balanced to the point where you can, like, push them with one finger and they spin around and, like that no one, he did all by himself and no one really knows how he moved these humongous, like, multi-ton limestone blocks around. You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea. I'm totally
No.
lost.
Really? You haven't heard about this?
Not a clue. No.
Oh, you would be. I feel like you would be into this. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're
Florida.
kinda into, like,
Florida's a crazy place full of weirdos, so it's hard to. How do you be like, oh, you hear about this weirdo? It's like true crime. The ocean of true crime is too deep. The ocean of Florida has unplumbed depths for me.
Yeah, look it up. It's called Coral Castle. It's Coral Castle, and it's this guy who back in, like, the 50s, no one knows how he did what he did, but there's like Stonehenge-sized rocks he was moving around by himself,
All right.
where no one knew that how he did it or what he was doing until he died in the 50s, and then they said, "What the F is all this?"
And then what? It's still a
now
mystery to this day.
it's an attraction you can go pay $20 to walk through.
It looks older than the 50s, but I'm sure no one's taking care of it to any special degree. It does look like Stonehenge because it's all old and rickety, but then you see kids on their smartphones rolling by like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I saw Stonehenge. When I went to Stonehenge, it was raining sideways.
Were the
Like
druids there?
It was raining so hard. I was so disappointed. I'd always wanted to see Stonehenge. I get there and it's just like drenching, pouring rain. And I have one picture of me there, and it was just enough of me to like look up for them to snap the picture and then look right back down because it was raining that hard.
That's the crapshoot of visiting Europe, since it's
well, that's true, especially England.
It's a watery place.
Yeah.
So, Schwood, I don't think we have any trivia for you, but
No.
That's okay.
what I do have is like a bunch of questions about what your expertise actually is, because I know basically what you've got going on over at Crosstalk, but I was trying to explain it to Krista, and she's like, what?
Well, what do you think it is?
So for me, it looks like you're super into networks and integrating bits of technology all over your house to do certain tasks, like the cameras. I get that, like, networking is your bag.
Yeah, that's basically it.
And I'm somewhat jealous because you have all these cool toys, and I'm torn because I watch your videos and I think, oh man, would I love to do that? And then I take a step back and I think, what the fuck would I do with that?
Right.
So, but that's the thing. It's not my demo, because I don't necessarily need a bunch of security cameras or have a server in my house.
Right.
But I still tune in because the content's good.
Well, it's all fun though. It's just all fun stuff. You know what I mean? And there's a big market out there for home enthusiasts who like my aquascaping hobby.
Yeah. There's
a bunch of aquascaping YouTubers out there that have way more people watching than watch my silly videos. It's that same thing. It's just a niche market on YouTube, right? Where people are interested in like prosumer home networking equipment.
I love.
And so we do
that term,
the network stuff. We do voice over IP phone systems. We do surveillance camera systems. Just recently, I got access control. So like that's where like you got to swipe a badge and then it unlocks a door type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff I'm now playing with. So yeah, it's all just fun stuff. Mostly though, it's for like small to medium sized business and like prosumer home market. That's sort of where my sweet spot, if you will. And
that's the cool thing about it, is it's like sort of the step by step into how to turn your house into like the houses we were promised in 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah. And it's all completely overkill. None of it is necessary.
Oh yeah. Every time I watch one of your videos, I'm like, holy shit, why do you need to keep that place locked down like Fort Knox?
I would like that.
But that's the thing. If you're an enthusiast, like if anyone were to walk into my house, they would say, oh, why do you need 57 cameras? And I would say, shut the fuck up. You don't know shit. But that's the thing. Someone could walk up to your house and be like, "Oh, I got like little fucking security cameras around here.
Yeah.
I wonder if this guy's a weirdo."
Well, and that's what's funny, but I'll tell you where it came in real handy. We recently moved, and I sold my old house,
Obviously.
and I had security cameras everywhere. And so you had realtors coming through with their prospective clients, walking through my house and talking about what they liked and what they didn't like.
Oh yeah, you get to be a voyeur.
And so after every time someone came in, immediately afterwards I would go review the footage,
And
right?
change the take their critiques.
There were a couple of really funny ones. There was one where there was this old couple. I say old. They were probably, late 60s, early 70s. And they come in, and our old kitchen was like, a countertop. And then right next to the countertop was like a built-in dining table, like kind of with 2 benches and like a big dining room table.
Yeah,
It was, like,
yeah,
built
okay.
in to this like nook and cranny in the wall. And this lady walks in. Her husband seemed all right. He seemed pretty chill. But she walks in and she goes, "Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate this. Oh my God. Could you look at this? Harry, look. Oh, I hate this." And she must have said it 18 times.
Oh my God.
And then by the end, she was like, "Well, we could do our puzzles there."
This bitch. Yeah.
And so that was pretty funny. The other one that really got me is I'll tell you 2 more because there were 2 more that were really good.
It's not
Now,
2 more.
Like I have all of this equipment. I have big monitors set up and all sorts of networking equipment, and I've got lights, studio lights for my YouTube stuff and all this sort of stuff. And down in my office, I have a camera, right? Of course, because someone breaks in my office, I want to see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a camera in the office, and it's sort of looking over the room. And this guy walks down, and he goes, "Oh, look at all this. Oh, I wonder what he does for a living." And a second guy comes down. He goes, "Oh, no, he's a radiologist."
Huh?
He said he's a radiologist with more confidence than any Jeopardy contestant I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he knew for a fact that I was a radiologist working at a home in the basement with a carpeted floor.
Do you have an X-ray machine?
Or a CAT scan or anything.
What the fuck?
My only guess is he saw my lights, which are flat panel lights, and it maybe looks like something that you'd look at an X-ray on.
But
Like one of those things. But yeah, he was convinced that I was a radiologist, even with my YouTube plaque on the wall right behind me.
Hey, maybe you read reports on YouTube.
Like, here's what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, you see, they come see all the gear and stuff, and they're just waiting to find the sex pervert dungeon or whatever.
Right, yeah, the sex dungeon would be the next one. But
a
no one brought up the
radiologist.
sex dungeon. But the third one was this friggin' realtor comes down into my office. Keep in mind, this is during the coronavirus pandemic.
Ugh, okay.
Comes down into my office. They look around my office a little bit. Oh, this is neat. Okay, what a great area, blah, blah, blah. The family that he's showing around goes back upstairs, and he yells up to him, "Hey, if anyone needs to use the bathroom, go ahead." And then proceeds to say, "I'm going to go ahead and use this one down here." And then goes and uses my restroom. My personal office restroom.
What a dick.
During COVID.
Unbelievable. I can only...
Unbelievable.
Oh, my God. I would be the worst with a security system. Oh, my God.
Well, I also caught... so we used to live very... like in the woods, basically.
Yeah.
And I also had a really good time catching our neighborhood bear, who would come around and eat all the apples off of my apple tree. He stole a bird feeder. I have this. I might send it to you. I have some footage of this. Must be like a 400-pound black bear right outside my office window at 7:30 p.m. Walking by the window, grabs my bird feeder off of its holder, bites it in his mouth, and it's like a good 6-inch diameter bird feeder, and puts the whole thing in his mouth and just walks off.
That I'm sure is truly majestic and also incredibly terrifying.
It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Just to know that there's like an 1/8 of an inch of glass between you and a murder machine.
Well, it was always a little nerve-wracking around, August, September, having the kids outside because, yeah, there were bears around there, like for real bears.
That is fucking crazy. Like, here is one thing. We see like coyotes or javelina every once in a while. I've only
Yeah.
ever seen like a mountain lion once or twice. But still, javelina will come out and fuck you up.
Oh, yeah, my dad is in Prescott, and he has javelina in his backyard like all the time.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Murder animals can stay.
He says they're there because they frickin' stink.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Ugh. We went hiking once and like we could smell them and we turn around this corner and there's just a huge family just staring there shooting the shit and they look over at us like, all right, so there's 3 of us and there's 8 giant hairy tusked beasts.
Just sort of back away from that situation.
Yeah, and it's luckily they're skittish and they're also very stupid, so it's like it was a tense second and a half and then they scattered.
Yeah. It was like a Steven Seagal style standoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I stood still and everybody else got beaten up somehow and left.
Do you know any good like Steven Seagal's a dick stories?
Well, there's the just the big ones, like how many times he's cheated on each wife. Like I'm sure you've heard the John Leguizamo story.
No, what's that one?
So on the set of Executive Decision, Steven Seagal shows up and he basically
That's the one where he died like very quickly into the movie, right?
that's the puppet Steven who gets whipped out of a tiny plane.
Right.
So he comes on and starts acting like a drill sergeant. And everybody's, up in everybody's face. And John Leguizamo, talked back to him. And Seagal slugged him in the chest and dropped him to the ground.
Oh. And John Leguizamo, I don't think, is a very big guy.
No. And there's a million stories like that. He's if you watch Steven Seagal Lawman, it's basically...
that was when he was like pretending to be a cop?
Mm-hmm. It is really. It's basically Steven Seagal cosplaying.
Yeah.
He's in a black SUV with no lights, no siren, but he gets access to like the police scanners. So him and his like 6 other fat auxiliary buddies show up late. Steven Seagal points out who he is, and then they fuck off.
Right.
Oh, what a sad life. But I do love Steven.
It's like there you can really tell a lot about someone. Like, you look at like Jean-Claude Van Damme is basically in the same vein as Steven Seagal. They were doing the same type of movies around the same time period. And then, obviously they both got old and, Van Damme sort of realizes like that he's kind of a goof, the stuff that he's doing. Yeah. He can appreciate it and like find the irony in the fact that he's just like, now just an older guy who used to be a big time movie star, and there's not much in it for him anymore. So he comes out with Jean-Claude Van Johnson, that TV series where he's basically just making fun of himself the whole show.
But
Seagal would never do something like that.
And thank God, because here's the thing. Steven Seagal and people like a Chuck Norris, people of that ilk, if they gain self-awareness, their ironic entertainment value goes out the window. As soon as Steven Seagal becomes aware of who he is and what he does, he is no longer a compelling figure to me. That's why I'm not a huge Van Damme fan. Don't get me wrong, great moves. The Muscles from Brussels will always be one of the greatest. However, who cares? Because Steven Seagal is a train wreck and people love looking at train wrecks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And is he doing anything anymore? Like, what's Steven Seagal doing?
Last year, he released 5 movies.
Shut up.
Listen, as a Steven Seagal connoisseur and on the shelf behind me, I have everything up until about 2018, and I am like 15 movies behind.
Oh, wow.
He has, I talk about him every show, and rightfully so, because he's my hero. Yeah. But he is maybe the perfect actor. He can slide into any ethnicity. Ironically, hilariously, of course.
Right.
But that's the thing. If he starts showing up in wink, wink, I know I'm past it movies, I'm done.
Yeah.
He'll never do that.
No, he never will because his ego won't let him. But like the Baldwins will do it.
That there's, speaking of people whose career went down the shitter, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Did you see that he's got a movie coming out in November called Jiu-Jitsu?
No.
That stars Nicolas Cage,
Sure.
who leads a team of jiu-jitsu fighters in a battle against aliens.
So is this a net or a Redbox film?
I don't know.
Because here's the thing with Nick Cage. In recent history, he's made some decent choices. He was in Mandy, which for all accounts was critically acclaimed, and he was also in The Color Out of Space, which I had not been able to
He
get my
was
hands
also in that animated Spider-Man film that was so good.
on.
To the Spider-Verse.
I've
Or
heard
into the multiverse,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
I've heard of that. I have not picked it up yet, but I feel like there was a third
Whoa,
one too.
whoa. Stop right there.
Okay.
You didn't see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Negative.
Oh, that's a good movie.
I have heard. Yes, I'm sure that it is. But there's only so much of my time I can spread around, and Spider-Man has never been one of my go-to heroes.
Yeah, You cannot say that there's only so much of your time to spread around when literally 1 minute ago you told me that you're trying to catch up on Steven Seagal movies.
That's a priority.
Those things do not mesh. That's called plenty of time on your hands. You're just spending it in a different place.
Listen, if you put Steven and Peter Parker on a scale, not only will he be outweighed physically, but by sheer hilarity, Steven will win every time.
But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has amazing cinematography. It has a really good story. It's got great humor. It's got great heart. It is an all-around very, very good movie.
Sure, but let me ask you this. Does it have an aging, let's say 60-ish year old man who has been expanding since the late 90s, who, despite the fact that he's in his movies less and less, still manages to kick the same amount of ass every time?
No, but
Exactly.
It does have an aging past his prime version of Peter Parker that is quite amusing. It has a version of Peter Parker where he is old. He's like basically put on a lot of weight now, and he is divorced and just like sitting around still trying to be Spider-Man.
So he's basically,
which is pretty funny.
He's Spider-Man from Earth X then.
Something, whatever it is. I don't know the whole thing.
Let's talk about comics. Have you read Earth X?
No, I'm not a big comic guy. I haven't
a second ago, Spider-Man was your best friend, and now,
no, I do not say Spider-Man is my best friend. I say the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was an excellent film.
Right, but there must have been you don't walk into a movie be like, this is a movie, I'm gonna watch it. Oh, it has Spider-Man in it. What a coincidence! You must have sought it out for something, and I bet that was Spider-Man.
I do. I go and see every big Marvel movie that comes out. I do go see every Marvel movie.
Well, if you are, into that sort of thing, I will recommend you this because you can buy the whole book now, Earth X, simply because of, I think that's probably where they're getting a lot of this stuff from. Because Peter, spoiler alert, it's basically from page 1, this is what they tell you, but everybody on Earth has superpowers, and all the old heroes are now just like everybody else now. And so, when you get to that moment where all the old heroes have to unite, here comes Spider-Man in a literal Walgreens style Spider-Man sweatshirt costume.
That's pretty
awesome.
And
he's like, time to get back in it, and he's fat, and it's hilarious. And I recommend that. I like reading the comics more than I like watching the movies.
I had a good buddy who was very, very into comic books, and he went and saw it with me, actually. So we went and saw it with our kids, and he enjoyed it very much as well. But he was the same way. He was like, oh, no, this relates to, such and such comic, and this was from that, and this is from that. And, I don't know what the heck he's talking about, but listen, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
That's the rough part about it, is it's got so much lore that if you wanted to, you could unwillingly saddle yourself to a friend who nitpicks everything, and they won't tell you about it until film starts to roll.
Yeah. And then during the entire film.
Yeah, we're not talking about Suds, are we?
Are you? No, not Suds. No,
Okay.
Suds lives in Texas now. I wish he lived
yeah.
around me. He actually came out to visit us just prior to COVID. Like he was like basically a week before everything got locked down. Suds and his wife. Did you know that Suds is married now?
I did. He fell off
Suds
Facebook though.
Suds and his wife came out. He's like all domesticated. They're buying a house. Yeah.
Before we go crazy and talk about Suds, context for the viewers, Suds was the co-host of the Ragtime podcast and has a fairly long lineage that going on this show. He crashed on our couch when he was driving to Texas.
His cats.
With his
That's
cats.
where he lives now. It's Texas, sure.
So we played a part in that. So that's who Suds is for everybody who's like, who the fuck?
Great guy. Suds is a great guy.
Yeah.
I still talk. In fact, I was just texting with him before this show.
Let me ask you something. I probably have already asked, but it's been so long I forgot. The Ragtime podcast, where did that name come from? Because it was about movies.
Well, we came up with Ragtime because it was a movie podcast, but the idea was that we were going to be ragging on movies.
Oh.
Right? And so we called it Ragtime because it was like basically us goofing on movies. Case in point, the first movie that we did on the Ragtime podcast was the movie Battleship.
Yeah.
Which, if you ever saw that, that's probably the most horrendous piece of shit movie to this day I have ever seen and actually paid money in a theater to go watch. I cannot believe it. Actually literally offends me that that movie was made. Battleship. Oh, it's so bad.
You know, full disclosure, like when the Ragtime podcast was still a thing, I have many memories of like that show getting me through another fucking awful day on a roof in the middle of Phoenix. I tell you what.
You were being a roofer?
No, I was an electrician.
Okay.
But all of our jobs were running pipe over roof or setting up. Basically, the job that I'm referring to that your show got me through was setting up 1 million solar panels on a high school in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh, wow.
So as I was trudging after, between row after row of all these reflective ass sunburn inducing panels, I was listening to your guys' review of The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, which was a terrible shit movie as well.
Yeah. So
not as bad as Battleship.
Kayla said, I watched Battleship by getting the DVD from the public library. I still paid too much.
There are woof. That's the thing, man.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. It's 2 hours and 11 minutes long, by the way.
And like, Rihanna is in it.
It's the worst. And keep in mind that this is a movie that's based on the game
a board
Battleship.
Game. Yes. How do you? How little material do you actually need? A title is the answer.
Yeah.
If you have a title to something, you can make it into a movie. Shoots
Liam
and
Neeson
ladders.
was in it.
Yeah, it's so depressing.
It's probably it was after the time that Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
Right.
I think a lot of people were like, they took this very like obscure Disneyland ride and turned it into a successful franchise.
It was the
We
time
could
to
do
cash
that.
in. But then they should have also kept their eyes open for when Disney released Tomorrowland and The Haunted Mansion, which no one gave a single fuck about. But I can't hold it against anybody in that movie, because when someone comes knocking at your door and they're like, hey, we've got $1 billion to make a movie about robots that takes place on the ocean. Would you like to be in it? And they basically spin around a tablet that has how much you'll be making, and you go,
Terrible.
Yeah.
Where did you hear about the Ragtime podcast? By the
I
way?
have
Like,
no
how did
fucking
you get into
clue.
That?
I have
because
no
you
idea.
contacted us, and we were on like our third episode.
No idea. I was probably just trolling the internet. Here's how everybody I meet goes. I'm trolling the internet and I send them an email, and if they respond, I bug them until they are my friend.
There
That's
you go.
how David and I
And
met.
look, we're still talking 8 years later.
That's here we are. So that's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to say. All of my friends that I've created relationships with on this show is based simply on the fact that I dig in like an Alabama tick, and unless you can pick me off, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, that's your spirit animal then. When someone asks you, now you know
tick.
you're an Alabama tick.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I love the aspect of growing up to 800 times in size.
That's right. Ticks are disgusting, man.
Totally. What the fuck? Whose idea was all these disgusting? I don't get. Here, let's talk about this, Schwood. Blood.
Okay.
Blood is probably the least nourishing fluid the body can offer.
It's got lots of iron.
Basically iron, you got some hemoglobin, but it carries almost nothing except oxygen. But there are so many animals that almost exclusively center around blood.
Yeah. Great white sharks.
I was thinking more of like
mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquitoes, your ticks, your leeches, your all those.
Have you ever had a leech on you?
No, thank God.
Oh God, I have. It's not fun.
Disgusting. And that's
Absolutely
why
disgusting.
But that's why all the animals that drink blood are so disgusting, because they have to engorge themselves with it, and then they turn themselves from horrible nightmares into bloated horrible nightmares. Because if you see a tick walking across, the ground, and you're like, ew, it's not engorged or anything. You're just like, ew, it looks like a little spider. But then you see one fall off a dog, and it's the size of like the first digit of your pinky finger, and you're like, what the fuck? Because the legs don't get bigger. No. The legs are still these tiny, horrifying little feelers at the front, hauling around this massive gray body. Blech.
You think when a tick is engorged to that size, they're like drunk?
They have to be, right?
Right? They're just like, oh yeah,
just
man,
hallucinating.
that's the stuff.
Yeah, let's say, here's what I would be. Next time somebody, or if someone gives a shit to ask, my animal will be a tick at Burning Man.
Ooh.
I'm gonna attach myself to the underside of a hippie and trip balls for 3 days, my friend.
I actually talked to
hippie?
This gentleman who runs every year, goes out and builds the network and for Wi-Fi at Burning Man, and invited me to potentially come down there. I said, listen, I would love to see how that's done. I don't want to go to the Burning Man festival, but I'll come out like a week early while you're setting stuff up and just film like how you're doing it, like how you're getting the Wi-Fi to cover this whole crazy event that's only here for a week or whatever.
And the fact that they need Wi-Fi at a hippie festival.
I don't know what it's all about. But he tells me, you're going to enjoy this.
Okay.
He tells me, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to remember the name. He said, okay, well, I have to talk to the higher ups and see if that's something that they will allow, because they only allow certain press to come into Burning Man that they know is going to film the event in a positive light.
Yeah,
and the group that had to approve me was the Ministry of Truth.
What?
Yes. So I had to get approved by the Ministry of Truth. And the last I heard was it wasn't looking good for me. And then I never heard from the guy again.
Listen, here's the thing. You run Burning Man. What is it that you're doing behind the scenes that you have to guard so closely? Because my theory is all your big secrets are out. We know it's a big fucking drug fest jamboree with a bunch of naked hippies running around a desert.
Yeah.
Are you doing something secret out there that...
Yeah.
What are you hiding? Yeah. like everybody is tripping balls 24/7, and then you light a giant man on fire.
Human sacrifices.
Yeah. I got a buddy of mine that went to Burning Man a couple times, but he's like a rich guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's just he owns a company that makes a lot of money, and he would charter a private plane to land at Burning Man every year. And like fly into Burning Man with all of his expensive camping gear and spend the week and then fly out. And I was like, that kind of subvert the whole like idea of Burning Man when you're like corporate flying into the event.
Well, when you're at that level, see, when you're at low level and you're the person setting up a tent or a whatever, you got your bicycle.
You got to drive your 1985 Nissan Sentra from Las Vegas all the way there.
Yeah, or you got that camper that you covered in funny stickers or whatever. You're doing it for like this spiritual experience. You get in touch with all your blah, blah, blah. You're a dude flying out there in a jet. You're looking to get your hands on as much drugs as possible, as quickly as possible, because it's probably the easiest thing to do at Burning Man.
Yeah. I don't think they allow money.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Isn't everything like a barter system?
It's all barter. I watched the documentary on it. You have to barter. You can do like water, or you can do things for people, but it has to be a commodity that is traded. So here's the thing: show up with a fucking backpack of like chewy granola bars, and you're the king of fucking Burning Man. Because by day 3, everybody who's gotten high and gotten the munchies and blown through their stack of shit.
Yeah.
Wait till the acid kicks in and be like, guess what, dude?
You just gotta hit Costco on your way over there.
Exactly. Guess what? I got fruit snacks and chewy granola bars, and guess what? You're high as fuck. Got any extra mushrooms? Come on.
When I was in college, I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for college, just for 1 year. I actually got kicked out. But the year that I was there, I was living in the dorms, and I'll always remember. I didn't have a ton of money. I was a starving college student, and I would always. I had a guaranteed dinner. There was this group of like 8 or 9 Filipino guys that were like my buddies. They would always hang out on the steps of the dorms, like this sort of group of guys.
Classic.
And so I knew they were always hanging out there, and they were always smoking weed. And so at the time I was not a weed smoker, right? I'd go down and I'd just be like, oh, hey guys, hey, how's it going? Hey, listen, I'm gonna run over to Taco Bell. You guys want anything? And then out comes the money, right? And they would give me so much money for like I'd end up with, $35 worth of Taco Bell, which is enough to feed a small army. But the point is, I would always have enough money left over to feed myself. And I did that at least once a week. It was a great little scam I had going.
Nice.
Everybody, what is it about getting intoxicated? It doesn't matter what it is. If you get drunk, high, or anything in between, like your body automatically downshifts to like this lizard brain where there's like an inherent genetic desire to like ingest as much terrible like chemicals and shit as possible, aka Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, Burger King. Like these establishments live off of the drug and alcohol industry.
No one's getting the munchies for a kale salad.
No, and I try, like, every time I get drunk, I try to think, like, get the munchies for something healthy. Like, go in and get yourself one of those, but you always, like, your brain hits the lowest common denominator. You end up eating
I went and got some food, man. I need a Mars bar and a Red Bull.
Yeah, like, you make the worst decisions, and you end up, like, coiled up in the corner with, like, just nothing but wrappers for sticks of butter around you.
You want to hear a funny story?
Always.
So I as part of my company, we sell phone service, like phone lines to customers. And, we set these up on phone systems. And one of my customers is this restaurant chain out in Florida.
Okay.
And so every so often, one of these chains of restaurants has a situation where they have to dial 911.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, the 911 services go over my phone lines. And so I have recordings of these 911 calls. Like I automatically record any 911 call. Just it's like a thing for emergencies, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so I had this one happen like not that long ago, and I listened to the call. It was about a 10-minute call. It wasn't that serious, but they called 911 because one of the managers of the restaurants just literally collapsed in the middle of the floor. Like he was working and just like collapsed, and I think had like a minor seizure. And then they called 911, and he was fine, right? But he had this, this issue. I was talking to my contact, and I'm like, oh, is everyone okay? Because I know there was a 911 call. I mean, hopefully everyone's fine. And, we're talking about, making sure that we're got our bases covered for the 911 dialing, all that stuff. And he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a manager. He's like 28, and he had like too much Red Bull before he started work, and it caused a seizure.
Jeez.
What the
Like, how much Red Bull do you have to drink?
Like, first of all, don't drink Red Bull.
Yeah.
But second of all, can you imagine having so much Red Bull that it causes a seizure?
Here's a story that might be funny.
All right.
So when I was younger and still living at home, my brother put a drink in the fridge. It was an energy drink that he got at some nutritional place, and it stayed there for over a week. No, they sell Four Loko at GNC. Get all you need and get fucked up in the process. No, it was called Red Line. The drink was called Red Line. So and it came in this little, 3-ounce, 6-ounce bottle. And so I'd been sitting there forever. I had come home from work. I was tired. I was meeting somebody for dinner, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to grab this thing. I'm going to drink it. So no food in my system for like 17 hours. Slam this thing, and I'm driving. I start feeling weird. I start feeling real weird. I'm like, I'm getting real twitchy. So
Start sweating.
Yes, I got the sweats and everything. So I'm like, oh, what? So I pick up the can of the little bottle, and it's like, not for use with pregnant women. Do not ingest more than half a bottle in a 24-hour period.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this was a fucking disaster.
Well, then why don't they just make the serving size
Smaller.
half of what it was?
That was my first thought as I was reading it. Because it came in this silver, like a milled aluminum can, and it was they in later iterations reduced the caffeine remarkably because I had them later and it wasn't this disastrous. But if you were to see me that night in the restaurant with my friend, you would have sworn that I just snorted a bunch of speed in the bathroom and came out to have a really intense conversation about like the 1988 Metallica tour. Like it was
gosh.
I thought I was going to die. We were at a Mexican restaurant, so I'm eating chips and salsa and bean dip as fast as I can to like dilute this caffeine because I know what's happening, but I can't stop it. So here's me like, whoa, spinning around in my chair. That was a moral of the story is read before you drink things, guys.
Yeah, caffeine's a hell of a drug, man. I tell you, like, if you've ever had cold brew coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Cold brew coffee has so much. I got this, like, it sounds like a good idea, right? Oh, yeah. Cold brew coffee. That sounds good. I like iced coffee. Why not try some of that?
Beautiful.
It's like concentrated caffeine. You might as well just like mainline it directly into your veins because it is gnarly. I got this cold brew coffee maker. I did it like 2 or 3 times and I was like, nope, never. I put it away on the shelf and it never got used again.
Here's what you're supposed to do that they don't tell you except for in tiny font and all the things.
Water it down.
Like by 5 to 1.
Wow.
Because the first time we did it, I was like, oh, delicious. Pour, normal strength, cream, doot. Ah!
He's like, do not.
So I was like having a bad day. So I looked it up. It's like, anywhere between like a 1-to-4 to 1-to-5 ratio. I'm like, what the fuck? So I did what I thought was a 1-to-4 to 1-to-5 ratio, and I was still pretty much flying.
Yeah, lots of caffeine, which is great. I had to sort of cut out caffeine because it gives me anxiety.
Yeah,
like I don't know if you've ever had like an anxiety attack, but it's not fun.
No. That's the thing. You can tell where I'm at in the day caffeine wise by watching the Facebook for this show, because you can see like from when I'm asleep to when I wake up, it's 0. But then like I wake up, groggily type something out, and as the caffeine kicks in, as that pot of coffee disappears, it gets much more annoying.
Yeah. Annoying or just more frequent?
More frequent.
Depends on who you ask, but it definitely becomes more frequent. So that's the thing. I know that it can fuck you up, and that's why I try to like keep it on a schedule. Yeah. Krista will drink it any time of the day.
Well, speaking of that, I got a interesting infographic that is 50 productivity tips to boost your brain power. You want to hear some of these?
Where did you find this?
Reddit, where you find all good stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's where I go to look for good stuff, is Reddit. Yeah, I would love to hear it. Oh, but before you do, let me tell you a quick anecdote.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I was logging into work, you know when you open up Firefox, it'll give you a whole bunch of suggested articles?
Uh-huh.
And so this one caught my eye. It's like the top 10 things that really likable people never do. After quickly scrolling, I found out that I was addicted to 6 of them, so I'm probably never going to be the likable person I would hope.
Well, listen, you found someone in life. You have a family. So
still,
what more do you need? Who
40% likable. So what do you got?
All right, number 1, productivity, right? This is how to be more productive throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, silence your phone. Okay, got it?
I get that, yeah.
Number 2, black out background browser tabs and notifications. Number 4, clean your desk. All right.
I do that on the reg.
Number 8, this one I do not agree with. Work in varied environments, coffee shops, parks, etc.
That is too distracting.
That can be annoying.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I get there are people out there who need to do that, but here's the thing. I don't think you can do work in a public place like a coffee shop and not look like a complete asshole to people like me who think you're a complete asshole for landing in a fucking coffee shop, spreading out 90 feet of extension cords to power your 40 devices, you fuckwit.
Right. And
Go
then
home.
talk very loudly on your Bluetooth
Yes.
earpiece.
You're never going to sell that script. Just write it at home.
Number 9, sit by a window.
That I do like, because when the COVID thing hit and I had an office mate, we would swap desks, and one of the desks had a window, and I loved it.
Yeah. Number 10, smell something pleasant like lemons or lavender.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, like that's a very easy way to like refresh yourself is by smelling something not shitty.
Yeah. Right. All right. Save time. Here's some saving time tips. Quit meetings or keep them to 15 minutes.
I agree with that.
Listen,
I agree with that 100%. I used to hate, when I was in corporate America world, I used to hate meetings. I used to loathe them. Not only because they were long and boring, but always my stomach would growl, and I'd be that guy whose stomach was growling, and then everyone looks at you.
I don't get me wrong. Meetings are annoying, but if you're like me and turn them into a one-man show, they're not so bad.
I suppose. All right, here's another one. Number 22, quit Facebook.
Occasionally I do, but here's the thing. Everybody is spread across so many different platforms of social media. Like you're not on Facebook, for instance. No. It's hard to quit the thing that is essentially the thing that ties you to everybody.
Right. And Facebook is probably the most popular.
Yeah, I get that it's like, because everybody I talk to says that Facebook is like for uncles and aunts and old dads and moms.
No, it's not. It's just such a bad. It's just very bad for your mental health.
Right.
Yes.
I think curating your feed is very important because you walk a razor thin line of, making an echo chamber so that you become more dogmatic about your bullshit beliefs. Or you're literally commenting on everybody's shit and you're annoying.
Yeah. All right, so here's the prioritize section, right? Number 28, sort tasks by must, should, and want every day. Like things you must do, things you should do, and things you want to do. Now, here's the thing. You're trying to increase productivity, but you're now making lists, which is adding to your workload.
This is a task. But I'm a big proponent of lists. Krista will tell you I'm a huge proponent of lists because without the list, most people freeze. So it may seem counterproductive, but once you get your ass in a list and be like, yeah, now I'm going to do the easy shit on the list.
Right.
So I get that.
Don't check your email until you've worked for 2 hours.
I get all the little like fun goals where it's like do this, like set a timer so that you get no screen time or whatever. But let's be real. I don't think my phone leaves my hand unless I'm sitting in this chair and in front of this camera.
Yeah, not to mention that not everyone has the luxury of sitting down and doing whatever they want for 2 hours until your coworkers come up to you and say, dude, why aren't you answering your emails?
Hey, fuckwad. Like, now that we are into the fact that you can contact literally anybody at any time and that business can move quickly, it's hard to be like, 2 hours, you guys can handle it.
This is an interesting one, and get motivated. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now.
That's a rough one.
That is a rough one.
I am now... Because, this is hitting me personally because as we speak, and for the last few weeks, I keep looking at something and being like, and then I take 2 steps and freeze, and I think, you fucking idiot, turn around and pick it up. You're headed toward the garbage can.
Yeah.
You're headed toward the thing that needs to go anywhere. Like, pick your underwear up off the floor so the dogs won't lick it. Like,
My big thing is I always try, if I'm going downstairs, grab something that needs to go downstairs. And if I'm going upstairs, grab something that needs to go upstairs.
I get that. Yeah. Like
I try to do that every time.
it's rough because maybe this is different for you, but fill me in. My always the pattern of thought is like you're doing something, you notice something that needs to be put away or fixed, and you go, God damn it, yet another thing to do, and then you spin on your heels and you walk out the fucking door, despite the fact that you could just be like, fixed.
Yeah. Technology is a lot like that. Like digging into a computer server for something, and it's like, okay, I just got to run this update on this server. All right, let me pop in here and run that. Oh, shoot, the update failed. Well, now I got to figure out why that failed.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of stuff.
You're
Like where it's just like
worried.
one thing leads to another broken thing, to another broken thing, to another broken thing.
That's it. The fear of falling down an unintentional rabbit hole is always there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times where like either I'm at work or someone or is like, well, I had isn't this weird? This one little small detail about this account or something weird. I'm gonna go fix it, and then 9 hours later, you're down the rabbit hole. You know this family's entire history, and I'm like,
You see their Ancestry.com
yeah, you
profile.
lose complete track of time and what you were doing because you'll turn a small problem into something, a mystery, and mysteries people love.
Yeah. That's true.
If my
That's true.
boss
We
is
love a mystery.
watching, because she's informed me that she watches these now, I'll tell you this: she's one of these people who will, be like, "Aha, I found something to fix. I'm gonna fix it real quick. Tickety tick tick." It becomes a mystery. She becomes Sam Spade and embroiled, and then the day flies away. But I do that too, so I can't be like, "Hey."
Krista was saying that we need to make a drinking game out of how many times David says, "Here's the thing."
Yeah.
I think we should make a drinking game out of how many times David adjusts his microphone.
I can't stop it. I
I've
can't.
told him I don't know how many times. You
Listen,
moved that
I think
microphone.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. The root of the problem is this chair that I'm sitting on. This chair left the factory in China somewhere around 1994. And it is falling apart, and it is creaky, and it is a piece of shit. And it constantly, because I can't tilt it back anymore, I am constantly doing this, as you will notice watching. Like, if you watch the recording on Fast Forward, you'll see me doing this. Because this chair sucks. So once I get the chair fixed, I probably won't have to do this so much.
You think, really? Because
No,
I mean,
no.
listen, the microphone's not going to matter if it's 2 inches or 3 inches from your mouth. So you can probably just leave it.
David's always done this, even with just recording the show.
I can't stop it.
It's not. Yeah. It's
But
not
here's the
something.
thing. God damn it. Here is the thing. Here's the thing. Everybody says it, but I got saddled with it somehow. I was watching Schwood's live stream here, what is it now, like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is fun. He's talking about stuff. And then he goes, here's the thing. And I wanted to jump in the chat room and be like, my brand, you're infringing. But everybody says that. It's just I somehow
No,
got...
it's not that everybody says it. Everybody has their crutch phrases and crutch words.
Right.
Mine is usually just Like I'll say a lot. Like when I'm editing my videos for YouTube, I can't tell you how many ums I cut out of
I
every
get
single video. Here's the thing. Is a very common one, and it's not that bad. Here's the thing is not a very bad one either. There was a guy that I used to work with. He was a sales guy, mind you. His crutch word was obviously.
Woof.
So
That can get rough.
he's talking to clients about a technical phone system.
Obvious.
And he'd be like, okay, well, obviously you can set this extension to ring multiple extensions at the same time. And, obviously lines can be set to come inbound or outbound. And, obviously you don't have to, like he would say, it would drive me insane to the point where I actually pulled him aside and I was like, dude, if this was obvious to these people, they wouldn't be talking to you. So like you saying obviously every 2 seconds is really condescending. Like,
Right.
don't
Yeah,
do
I
that
get
anymore.
that.
And he's like, I said obviously?
And with my verbal tick, I only pull it out when my goal in that instance is to cut right through the fat and hit the bone with the blade. Let's get through all the minutia. I'm saying, when I say here's the thing, we're being like, oh, vague concepts or whatever. Here's a concrete piece of evidence that I'm going to show you when I say here's the thing.
Right. Can we switch it up? Maybe you can just be like, listen here.
Hey now.
Listen, that's
Hey
another
now.
one. My boss got me to start saying listen, and I feel like that is an obviously type situation because I'm realizing I'm always telling people, not only telling them, but commanding them to listen.
What about yo, yo, yo?
Yo, yo, homies. I don't know. I'm not, this isn't Malibu's most
You don't got to
wanted.
go all racial about it, man. I'm just saying.
That wasn't racial. That was my voice. How dare you?
Kayla says, I also listen to a podcast of Australians playing D&D, and one of them says, here's the thing all the time. Every time she says it, I wonder if she's a closet FFOP fan.
Yeah, that's what
That's the
is
thing.
so.
Not everyone listens to FFOP.
Almost nobody does. That's the thing. That is the thing.
Not here's the thing. That's the thing.
So I'm fine with here's the thing simply because I don't. It's now white noise, but I'm definitely trying to get listen as a command out of my verbal
I
tactics.
don't like it.
Right. So if it's any consolation to you, I did not notice your here's the thing. I'm sure you guys have discussed it and all that, but
come
until
up.
Kayla pointed it out, I did not notice it. Or no, Krista pointed it out.
I
Sorry.
did, yeah.
It's come up. So much so that I was even dared by a fan on one episode to go an entire episode without saying it, and I don't think I
7
made
seconds, maybe?
I think it was under a minute and 14 seconds that I lost, and I had to give her. I forget what the prize was, but that was the thing. She could, if you make a bet with me, I guarantee you're gonna win it. Especially about that shit.
It's hard to put yourself in front of a microphone and in front of a camera and start talking. Anyone who listen, there you go. Listen, right?
Listen.
Anyone who's been on YouTube for a while, like yourself, like me, like whomever, you're gonna say dumb stuff all the time.
I've got
It just
hours of
happens.
it.
It's just your stream of consciousness does not allow you to not say dumb stuff. Here's the thing.
Is there a but?
Here's
the
the
thing.
No, there's not a but. That's it.
Oh,
Everyone says dumb stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't take any of that stuff personally. And listen, if anyone has a problem with it, F them.
Here's what I think most of it is laid at the feet of. When you're doing, especially a live show, you need, or at least I do, I feel the need to fill in all those awkward silences.
Yes.
Because I feel deep down in my gut that every second that passes by where nothing is being said, the viewer at home, their eyes immediately glaze over and their laptop slowly closes.
Right.
Fall asleep. So that's why I'm always like, well, here's the thing, because that is an attention getter. If you're like,
Right.
oh,
Brings
this
them
is
right
the
back.
thing.
'Cause they got to hear the thing.
Yeah. Oh, this is the thing. He said it before, but this time I believe it.
Right.
But
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Economy is still robust.
Very good. 101 minutes into this thing.
Wow. I'm so is that a subtle hint that you're done?
Here's the thing.
Here's the
Let's
thing.
wrap it up.
I want to get this over with. So, all right, here's the thing, guys. We're going to start wrapping it up. So, of course, if you are in the market for networking and or VoIP sort of stuff, Schwood's channel is definitely something to check out, and it's in the description of this show. You can check on.
Oh, thank you.
I think
that.
your YouTube and maybe your website. I'm pretty sure the website is also there too. But here's the thing, Schwood is like, now this may be out of your sphere also, but there's a gentleman on the internet known as the 8-bit guy. And
Yeah, I know him.
yeah, so I have no interest in getting involved in old tech. I love that channel. I love learning about Commodores and about Ataris and about Apple systems.
Well, you were getting into Raspberry Pis. That's newfangled equipment.
Right, but there's no, like, I'm never going to code in BASIC. I'm never going to do any of the.
Right.
I'm never going to go back and use a
Well, it's
floppy.
because no
disk.
one codes in BASIC, but okay.
Exactly. Well, except for this niche group. But that's what I'm saying about your show is I'm not there for necessarily the stuff I'm not going to use. There are channels out there that you go for the host. I don't care what your content is. If I like you as a host, I'll watch it. Most of the people I watch, I can't stand their content. There's this one girl who does these long-winded video essays. I couldn't give a shit about the content because it's always about some obscure and dark, shadowy place online that doesn't concern me at all. But I find her compelling, and I'll watch it.
Yeah. I am about 2 to 3 weeks away from cresting 200,000 subscribers, and that absolutely blows my mind. I love it.
That's awesome.
I'm so thankful for all the people that like to watch these silly videos.
Not to one up you, but we just hit like 170.
Woo!
I'm pretty impressed with that shit.
170,000 is amazing.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Sadly, our number does not have a comma in it yet.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, listen, if anything, I've been listening for 8 years now, so
I'm glad. That's what I like about our show. If nothing else, we can never be lumped into a Monty Python or anything else with an annoying fan base or toxic fan base.
Right.
That's the one thing.
And by the way, I've almost done videos on Raspberry Pi video game emulators. I just never
want one, dude.
The thing that I have that I can't really do is, you're supposed to have quote unquote backups of your real games.
Sure, yeah.
That I don't want to show I downloaded a bunch of pirated games for this thing.
That's part of the sticky area around emulation is the legalities of it.
Right.
But I'm of two minds, because after a certain point, when there's no conceivable way to really make a profit off of something and you're just doing it to do it, let's give up the ghost.
Oh, it's a big gray area. But the thing is, if they started getting really popular, guess what? Someone would want to start making money off of it again.
That's the problem. It's riding the line rather of that DIY sort of homebrew thing where it's popular but not popular enough to be like, an emulator getting taken to court by PlayStation.
Right.
So, it's dicey at best, but fun if you get into it.
Yeah. What's the video game you're the best at?
Like skill wise, or that I enjoy the most?
Skill wise, like you can pretty much beat anyone you play.
Oh, god dang, man. I don't know. Broforce is a good one. A video game that I always win. I don't know. Okay, so my skills in regards to the game Hulk Ultimate Destruction were and still may be polished to a diamond sheen.
Okay.
I'm
not even aware of this game.
I played so much of that game. It was during the generation of like the original Xbox GameCube era.
Sure.
A generation of games. And I would, not only would I like play it nonstop every chance I got, but I would daydream about it at work. My life was in such a spot that as an electrician and an adult, I would escape my reality and my life to think about this game. And yeah, you can probably say I was pretty good at it.
That's good.
Is there anything you want to recommend to our viewers, Schwood? Aside from all the plugs I gave you, is there anything that you think, like movie-wise? We talked about movies and music and stuff. So is there anything out there you want to like plug?
I've really been enjoying The Boys on Amazon Prime. I've heard that show is really fun. Probably not your thing, I would guess, but it's a good fun romp if you don't mind a lot of dark comedy and plenty of ultra violence. It
sort of reminds me of like a serialized Watchmen, like that sort of gritty take on superheroes.
It's kind of. So the premise is that the superheroes are real D-bags.
Right.
And they basically do whatever they want with no consequences, including murdering people.
And who could blame them? They're essentially gods. That's the thing about superhumans, is like what keeps them on their moral path. Yeah.
And so The Boys is about a group of non-superheroes trying to expose and take down these really shitty superheroes.
All right.
But they're
okay.
they're at a humongous disadvantage, obviously, because they don't have superpowers.
Yeah, that's anytime you try and take on a superhuman, you're behind the eight ball. That's for sure.
Yeah, very much so. So it's a good show. It's got plenty of humor, lots of violence, and just all around good production value.
All right. Yeah, I've been meaning to check them out. They're on my like to watch list on Amazon Prime, but I've got a list that's just like it on Hulu and Netflix too. So,
Right.
What I will do is I'm going to plug, obviously, if you look here at the Be Like Popeye logo, if you want to support something and get, I feel like it's weird asking for support because it's like, I'm not really offering anything. You're sitting there watching this and this is free and it's intangible. So if you want something for your money, get one of these Be Like Popeye pieces of merch. Because the money doesn't go to us, it goes to an animal rescue organization that I'm cementing the relationship of and should be officially, announcing hopefully Monday. But that's it. Most of these rescues and stuff are getting hit hard because humans are having a hard time keeping themselves alive. So these animal shelters are having an extra hard time. Mm-hmm. So when you buy the Popeye stuff, obviously that goes to animal rescue. Also, I've got one of these extra masks that was made by a good friend of mine that is the Be Like Popeye mask that I'm going to figure out how to give away. Does anyone have any ideas? Let me know in the typing square.
How is Arizona? You're still in Phoenix, right?
Essentially, we're in Mesa.
Okay.
But yeah.
How is Phoenix and Mesa in terms of like mask wearers versus anti-mask wearers? Because you guys are pretty like Republican, like red, like shoot 'em up kind of state.
So
like, is there a lot of people walking around like subverting not wearing the masks? And
based on this question, I can ascertain that you did not see the article in which Arizona was named the 50th state in regards to literally everything around COVID.
Is that right?
Yeah. We were number 50 with Alabama still existing, with Florida still existing.
Like number 50, like as in like worst rate of infection type of thing?
Well, here's
like non-compliance, you name it, man.
It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
It started running rampant, and then certain government officials get in bed with other certain government officials, and then they open everything back up again, and then everybody goes out.
We had a bunch of stumbling blocks where it was like everything shut down, and like, listen, divorce the politics. This is a disease that doesn't give a fuck who you're voting for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What should have happened was shut it down, let the cases drop, then you open it back up.
Wear a fucking mask.
Wear a mask. Well, they shut
basically, if you wear a mask and you sanitize your hands every time you touch something, you're basically fine.
Basically. Yeah. And that was the thing. It was like there was a plateau in cases instead of a downturn. There should have been a 2-week decline in cases. There was a 2-week plateau. They saw that as the same thing and said, open it back up. And then we hit 50.
There was a funny Onion article that said, I just saw it today. It said something to the effect of, Governor of Florida calls in the National Guard to force residents into movie theaters.
I saw one where Rudy Giuliani was inflicted with several bat-related illnesses not connected to COVID. So, he's still got things going on.
Yeah.
Things are fucking nuts. But what I'm saying is, like, guys, here's the thing. This is a free mask. If you don't want to buy something off the store, you can still push Be Like Popeye, our motto around here.
Why is that the motto?
Popeye's a cool guy, and we want to be as cool as possible when everybody is being a dick to one another.
Okay.
So
like cool, like the Robin Williams Popeye from the 70s?
Maybe cooler, but just barely.
Okay.
Just barely.
My wife loves that movie.
I have some fond memories of watching it as a child and being very confused.
Yeah.
That's a whole other can of worms.
I'll tell you what doesn't hold up. Never-ending Story.
Doesn't it?
Does not hold up.
I've been meaning to go back. I know, like, the second
No,
and third
not
ones.
worth it. Not worth it.
Really?
Keep your memories intact.
Like, but like the puppets are no good, or like what aspect of it doesn't hold up?
The movie sucks. The acting is terrible. The music is terrible.
They're kid actors. It was the
The puppets are pretty
80s.
chintzy.
In 1, I take that as an offense. In 2 and 3, you are correct, sir. Like, I feel like by 3, like Cracknor the Rock Sniffer has been replaced by just a sock with googly eyes. Like in the first one, he's like this huge imposing figure, and there's clouds and lightning, and he's like, the nothing is coming, and we don't give a shit. And by the third one, he's like rolling around on a rock bicycle, singing Bad to the Bone with his son. Fuck that shit. Anyway, guys, it's time to end the show. So I want to thank everybody who came to the Typing Square. I want to thank, obviously, Schwood for coming on the show and being a terrific guest.
Sure, man. Anytime. Not anytime. I just say that.
Sometimes.
Maybe in another year.
Maybe. That's the thing. I'm like, how many weeks is it before I should ask people to come back? So yeah, guys, once again, thanks for listening. This has been Until My Battery Dies. And until next time, guys, which will be tomorrow. Remember, if you're watching this, Among Us.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow. Schwood, you should show up also.
What time are you doing that? I might.
7:30.
Do I have you on Steam?
Here, maybe not.
All right. And when you close this thing down, let's hook up on Steam.
All right, but here's the Legends of the Hidden Temple legend about this show. People always ask, why 7:30? Why 7:30? Because the kid goes to bed at 7, and I need time to piss and get a drink.
Yep. Don't mix those two things up.
I'm pissing into my drink. So, guys, once again, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Until My Battery Dies.
Bye.